species, days, and everyone who slays. Welcome to the only wrestling podcast where fantasy booking is an Olympic sport and logic taps out in the first round. Welcome to Kicking Out 2. I'm Michael, and with me as always is the submission specialist of Snark, the queen of commentary herself, Tori. How you doing?
You're working on these now, aren't you?
I am.
Working on them as you can.
Just rolling them out now.
Solid.
How you doing?
I'm good.
It has been a week of wrestling.
And a lot of other questionable things.
That too. Before we get too started, just a quick reminder that we are proud affiliates of Sportcorn Network, where passion for the game actually gets rewarded. You watch, you engage, you earn. Simple as that. Now let's get to the biggest story shaking the Squirrel Circle this week. The first one that's on the docket is WWE expansion to AAA. Partnership develops even more. There's been more and more talks of that particular joint. Jeremy Borash is central to the scouting process now. There's obviously been some AAA shakeups. Some of the top AAA officials reportedly feel like they're being knocked down a peg, with WWE's influence being part of it. Accidentally, it was promoted that Vikingo was going to be facing. That's right. What a week of Pro Wrestling Stampede. Was going to go against Chad Gable for the title that he hasn't won yet. So that is a thing that happened. So Vikingo has a title match with Del Rio scheduled for the 31st. They accidentally put the Worlds Collide matchup on the screen on Raw and said it was for the title.
Do you know how excited everybody is that Del Rio is leaving?
Well, at least getting knocked down a peg, as other things have said. There is some AEW talent off the table for this as well. AEW stars will no longer be working AAA events. Jeff Jarrett's surprise AAA return was an outlier of that. So it just kind of happened in the course of it being thrown in there. Cross-branded mega shows like Worlds Collide is being built as a Forbidden Door type event, featuring WWE, NXT, AAA, and they're even talking about having TNA representation at that show. So it's going to be a big, massive event for everybody. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations for winning that belt. Hey, Lady Alpha, thanks for joining us. So yeah, the first match that's been announced is Chad Gable versus Vikingo. It's not officially for the mega title yet, but it's pretty sure someone got smacked around a little bit for putting that up there, and it's probably going to end up happening. So what do you think? Is WWE building bridges here, or do you think they're kind of burning bridges by the rough shot that they're kind of doing? Because we've already taken Del Rio, we've knocked him down, or in the process of knocking him down. The first match for this AAA show is a American WWE gold medal, or was he a gold medalist? No, he was just NCAA.
He was an Olympian.
He's the Olympian. Against one of their higher representation. So how do you think this falls? Do you think this is on deaf ears?
I have a lot of questions about booking. I have a lot of questions about them buying AAA. But I don't have a problem with Vikingo if he wins the title, when he wins the title. If his first match is Chad Gable, Chad's going to make him look like $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Chad's taking the L is not going to hurt Chad at all. You're not wrong.
That's absolutely true.
I don't care. I think that's my biggest thing is, Alberto.
We knew who you meant.
I mean, either way, because Andrade's not getting anywhere either.
For different reasons, though.
Yeah.
So is that your concern, though, as far as is how the booking's going to end up going, or?
I honestly know so little about AAA other than that Del Rio is there, and I don't care about him, and he shouldn't be anywhere in the ring.
Right.
But beyond that, I don't care.
I
I
hear you.
just there's so much. Again, it's one of those things that this is where them trying to do too much.
Let's see.
AEW's had this agreement with CMLL and with AAA for a while for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Like they started this crap early. New Japan, they've worked with a bunch of companies.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to buy the company instead of just working with them? I don't. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I don't understand where you're trying to go from here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing is like we have a concept of what's going on, but I don't think we know exactly what the end result's going to be. Stampede states they'll likely little brother AAA like they're doing with TNA, and I don't disagree with that. It'll probably be AAA will become the feeder for their Hispanic up and comers. It's where they'll get that dynamic from the luchadors that they want to bring in.
My biggest complaint is every time you bring in a new luchador, you just put them with other Latinos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop doing this.
It makes me think that maybe Ray was really lonely when he first started, because like he was the only one, so he didn't have a group to go with.
He was lonely because he couldn't see at to get to eat at the actual table, and they put him at a little kids table by himself.
Yeah, I mean it's got to suck to smell farts all day.
Him and Hornswoggle.
Next one, not one I particularly care about, but we do like to say all news that comes in, even if it's not news that I particularly care for. But Goldberg's retirement match, he did have an interview where he talked about it. He mentioned that it will be in the South, obviously with Atlanta being a very heavily rumored location of where it's going to be. It makes sense for it to be there. I mean, it's kind of where like he made it big was the Atlanta territory, so.
Does anyone actually believe he's not having this match at Saturday Night's Main Event? Does anybody actually believe this is not going to happen?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean,
So
everything I see sees that he's going to be having a match.
again, this is one of those. Why are you coming back?
Yeah,
No one wants you here.
yeah, and I mean the same name I see keeps getting thrown out there, which is Gunther. He's in the middle of the thing now though, so I'm not sure how we break him away from that. My concern is, do I care that he wants to have a final match? No, I think everybody should be able to go out on their own terms. I think that's fine if you want to do that. But it needs to not be a 5-second squash match. And he can't do anything other than that right now.
No.
So, yeah, absolutely. Coming back to give us the best 5 minutes and 25 seconds of in-ring action ever. I'm concerned because like I don't care that he wants to have a last match. By all means, go out on your own accord, go out on your own sword, whatever you want to
I don't
do.
have a problem with this.
But like if you're gonna go in there with like a Gunther, like let's say that rumor is true, then it's gonna have to be a long match because if you go in there and squash Gunther, then that's the amount of hate you would get from that particular thing would be unsurmountable.
And it wouldn't make sense.
Right. Now, if you want to make his last match, like bring Nunzio back for a night,
right?
Go for it. Have him go in there and
Even
squash
if
Nunzio.
you have Tozawa, whatever.
Yeah.
There's any of a number of people currently in the company that him doing that to doesn't hurt him.
Well, and okay, so let's be clear. Just to kind of fantasy book it for a second, Miz hasn't been really on TV in a big way in a while. Have him come out there on Saturday Night's Main Event complaining that he's not on the card. He'll take anybody in the back. Goldberg comes out, squashes Miz. Miz can recover from that. Because you can go in there, spear him because he's surprised. 1, 2, 3, we're done. there, you had your last match, you had your last hurrah, you went out just like you came in.
The sad part is, I don't think that's going to be good enough for him.
Ouch. I mean, you're not wrong, but ouch. Ooh, Stampede throwing fire tonight.
I have so many thoughts on Jey Uso's title run.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. I was in the chat for the wrap up that they had for Raw, and we had some choice words about the promo that Jay had, which is not good.
This is very much a total a thing that I could. We've lost the plot for Jey Uso.
Yeah. Well, and
I
so
hate to say this, he should totally drop the title back to Gunther because I don't care about his title run.
yeah, we talked. It was almost that same idea that we talked about, or they talked about rather, and I was just in the chat. But Jay was interesting because he was passionate, because he was the underdog. Now that he's made himself the top dog, it's not as interesting. He's definitely one of those that's better in the chase. And so now that he's not chasing, I don't really care. Generally, in today's environment, from what we understand, they give them bullet points and they go out there and they just kind of talk. So that's kind of where he's not conveying the emotion he needs to convey. I don't particularly care that, like, the words aren't bad as far as I'm concerned. It's just like I don't believe he believes the words right now. Where when it was like Gunther beat the hell out of his brother with him handcuffed to the corner, like you could feel that in the promo. I didn't feel that in Monday's promo. The next is TNA. So we talked about they were taking away the blood and making that a thing. So now slaps must be approved by agents, and the throat slash taunt is outright banned. A lot of people are saying, well, it's WWE tightening screws because of their connection between them. I don't know. Like, obviously, we don't know if that's true or not, but that is just kind of what's being done there. There have been some leaked memos. A meeting was held to address the leaks, but ironically, that also got leaked. So, Steve Macklin had the thing to say about the blood side of it, though, just to kind of go over that. He believes blood now will mean more when it comes back because he thinks inevitably it'll come back, which I don't disagree. Not WWE, but wrestling in general goes in ebbs and flows like that. Of we get more family friendly, and then we ease that up a little bit. We go back to it, and we ease up to it. But I think eventually it'll come back to a normal mainstream thing. But for now, it's going to be held off a little bit. Drew's taking some time off. So after his match with Damian Priest, Drew's stepping away from WWE TV for now. One source says he's been banged up, and that's why he's taking some time off. Other ones claims his time off is contractual. So whatever that means, either he's just taking the time off or he needs the time off. Either way, I'm fine with him taking time off. He's got nothing to do at the moment.
I am a big fan of how much they're letting people take time off.
Absolutely.
Up and down the roster. Everyone. Yeah, Lyra's promo was amazing.
Absolutely.
That whole thing with her and Becky was so good.
Becky fell flat a little for me during that, but that's a whole other
did.
conversation.
Okay. The TNA thing.
Yeah.
What is the point? What are you trying? First of all, the throat slash thing. Okay, I can a little bit get behind that because it has become way overdone. But why no more blood? Why are we clearing slaps with somebody. What?
Okay, the slaps I don't know. I think Stampede has it on the head though. Of it's to get a TV deal.
Okay. That means that they went to somebody and somebody said, sorry, we can't do it because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so let's take X and Y off, and Z will cross that line when we get there.
Well, and with the partnership, who's to say that WWE didn't make some conversations happen with maybe the NBC affiliate on the
Yeah,
Peacock?
that's possible.
Because even if they don't land a TV deal, if they could land on the Peacock app that everybody already has because of WWE, they make some money, they get free ratings, that it'd be big for them. So we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of TNA, and this proves that no matter how much we dislike somebody, we are going to talk kindly about them in some cases. Tessa Blanchard was injured. She's been held off of current TNA tapings.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and go for this one.
She's been publicly denying that she's injured, though TNA sources have been insisting to Fightful that she is injured. That's why they're pushing her away for right now.
Did you see Sean Rob Sapp's tweet about that?
No, I had not.
It's like a timeline, and she said at whatever time, I'm not injured. Like a minute later, Fightful reports Tessa Blanchard is injured. A little bit later, she said she's not there.
3 a.m. on the Ocho.
She said something else, and then she said I'm injured. Like it was just this whole thing of, bitch, you said you weren't, but we all know you are, so just say you are.
Just admit it.
Admit you got hurt at that Klan rally. You tripped over the burning cross.
See, I was trying to be nice here. I'll be the nice one. Not. You do. Here's the thing. Despite what's going on with her personally, I don't want her to be hurt. The thought is that she probably got a concussion, which I'm not surprised, if nothing else, from that table spot. Because that table spot where, like, they tried to put her through a table and the table said nope.
Right, that was rough.
So, I mean, that could be where she got it or wherever. But, speedy recovery to her. I hope it doesn't have any lasting effects. Other than that, I don't want to see her on my TV. You can go home now.
I hope the concussion does not have lasting effects. That's as far as I'm going with that.
There you go. WWE holds talent meetings on PRP and stem cell treatments. So medical education. WWE held a session to inform talent about cutting-edge recovery methods, PRP, and stem cells. The Cancun-based stem cell clinic was highlighted as a go-to spot for talent. WWE may potentially partner with them as well. The success in this that they've seen is, like, Rey Mysterio has publicly praised stem cells therapy for extending his career. That was when he took that big leave for a little while, he was going to go get stem cell treatment. Rey Mysterio.
Okay. Was he hoping it would make him a little bit taller?
No. Nor a baller.
He was a baller?
No. Gave Dom a phone so he could call her. No. The company's stance is that they're not currently endorsing it, but they are educating superstars on it. There have been some others that we've heard have dove into that in other companies. If it's something that's helping them last longer, it's a touchy subject to think about because of where stem cells come from. But if it's done properly, then I don't see a problem with this. I don't see any issue with them getting healthier and finding ways to be healthy. I don't know if you want to get into that or we just want to move on from that. There we go.
That is a total soapbox thing because of how I feel about things.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's helping them stay healthy, okay. That's where I'm at on it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Very good. I mean, that's a good point. Apparently Ray's eye grew back, so it helped, according to Stampede. In that case, then, though, doesn't Alistair need to get on that? Because he's been nursing that eye injury for like 4 years now. Needs to do something about that. Asuka's still sidelined. There's been a lot of rumors passing around as far as like that Asuka's been backstage and Asuka's ready to come back. From what we're seeing here and what Fightful has said, she is still sidelined. Creative plans exist, but her return isn't imminent. Asuka has been out since May of 24, following her WWE Women's Tag Team title loss. What were you about to say?
That's a long
Yeah,
time.
it's been a while. From the start, they expected her to miss the rest of 24, and it's possibly Mania of 25 this year. Storylines for her return were discussed earlier this year, even though her clearance for Mania was never realistic. But they are trying to keep her in the story shuffle just in case she has an opportunity where she can re-enter. It'd be great to see her come back. Asuka's one of my favorites. And here's one of those things where I'll back what Big E said. Yes, she's a little long in the tooth, but she's got a lot of years left in her. And so I'd love to see her come back and whoop some ass and be part of that division again. All right. Well, we are going to lead straight into the 3 count. And I'm going to leave you for the main event because your last one that I have there, I think it's going to be a nice conversation between both of us before we go into the Twitter topic. So I'm just going to fly through mine and we'll get there. The first one, this one's close to my heart here, and so I just want to make sure to get this one out there. My first one is, it was announced that at Hoodslam Fearless 2025, Kid Bandit versus Dark Sheik for the Golden Gig Championship. Now she already has the Golden Gig Championship. She won it from Serial Man back in April. So she already has that, but she's going to be facing Dark Sheik for the title. She's only faced her 2 times, I think, before. So it'll be a nice matchup between the two. Plus, she goes hard. So it'll be a nice test for Kid. The styles and the story, though, just kind of explains it to itself. You've got Sheik, who's very traditional. She's very old school. She's very hardcore. And then you've got Kid, who's very new school, new style, new wave. So it'll be a nice thing to do there. Make sure to catch that out on trillertv.com. It's going to be on June 10th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So she already has the gold. She can go get more, though. I'm fine with that. Count 2, Trick plays. Love Trick. If anybody was going to win a TNA title, makes perfect sense that it was Trick. Trick is a mainstay talent who has been ready for the main roster for a while now, and I'm glad that they're holding it off, though, because where are you going to fit him in right now if you brought him up there without putting him back with Carmelo? That's pretty much the only thing I can see right now that immediately I'm like, well, you could put him with Carmelo because he's doing the thing with Miz, and there can be a triple thing going on there somehow. So having him hold that title, and even if it's just between now and the next TNA pay-per-view, having him hold that belt and be the mainstay of TNA for a little bit, I think it's going to up their credibility and up his credibility because he'll be the one as the face of the company for a little bit. What do you think?
Oh, I think we talked about yesterday. Trick winning made sense. It had to happen at some point. At some point, you were going to have to pull this trigger of somebody from TNA losing a title on WWE, and also vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
This needs to happen the other way now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I don't mean Trick losing to a TNA talent. I mean a WWE title, whether it's the Women's North American, the Men's North American, something.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
But it had to happen. This was the one that made the most sense. And Trick can he can do well enough in TNA that it's not going to hurt the brand or anyone there if they lose to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say he can carry the company because I hate that term, especially with a company like TNA that is a smaller company.
Right.
But do I think he can go over there? and have some great matches and entertain people, 100%.
For sure, he
I
could.
don't know that he's main roster ready. Just I don't know that his mic work. It's not bad for for NXT. He'd get eaten alive on the main roster.
That's fair
The
enough.
other side of it is if you want to bring him up with Booker T.
So I kind of made mention of that when they were talking about it on the review of it. There was a moment where Trick was about to do the spinneroonie that Booker T looked at him in very much what I called a Palpatine Darth Vader look, because he was like, "Yeah, give it to him, do it." And just that moment, I'm like, "Are you taking him under your wing? Like, is this going to be Booker? Is Booker going to show back up in TNA, maybe to manage Trick or be there with Trick as just kind of some sort of backup? It'd be nice." Um, Working with Santana is going to help him absolutely. Santana is a generational talent.
I
He
was so excited to see him on NXT tonight. Like I was so yes, get Booker T away from me now, Steph.
yeah, man. Uh
I was so excited to see Mike Santana on a WWE show. Like I was so happy for that guy because he's just a good dude.
yeah.
Like you don't hear bad about him. He doesn't cause problems. Now him and Ortiz had their falling out, and I don't know the whole story,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not going to make judgments. But I just am a big Santana fan, and I'm glad he got that moment.
Yeah. It's great for him to get that moment. I mean, if you think about some of these names like we never thought would show up at a WWE event, like we were just talking about Vikingo a minute ago. He's been on 2 WWE programs, one of them being a PLE. It's obvious if they're going to be running this thing with him and Chad, we're probably going to be seeing more of that leading up to it. Santana and Tavion absolutely
They
killed
did
it.
absolutely.
Uh,
Tavion, there were some missteps, but I don't know. I think that's just lack of working together.
yeah, which
But
that is where I will say a little bit against WWE lately. It does seem to be that they are not allowing them the time in the ring together to start easing those things out. Like we've mentioned at some of the PLEs, like the one with Charlotte and Tiff. Like they got in the ring and they had never been in the ring together before. Where previous regime, and this is one of those things where I think he got it right, would have done like a mixed tag or a tag team with like whoever's going for the other women's title and the other women's title holder. Somehow they get in a tag team for a night.
yep,
Something to kind of grease the wheels a little bit and get you a little bit used to being in the ring
I
together. Um,
I agree completely that there is not near enough of them getting in and mixing it up together.
mhm.
Um, and I think that reflects in the matches. And it's not the men's, it's not the women's, it's everyone as a whole, Raw, SmackDown, NXT as a whole. You're seeing more mistakes, missteps, whatever you want to call them. And they're not going to be perfect.
No,
They shouldn't be perfect. But should the Raw and SmackDown shows be the matches be smoother? I agree.
yep,
100%. Um, should the matches be smoother on Raw and SmackDown than NXT? 100% they should be. If they're not, what's your developmental actually developing?
right, for sure.
Now, we have seen people from there get better and better and better. Look at Sol Ruka. There's a number of people that I could point to that from when their first match was to where they are now. Look at Thea. Look at Jada. And I'm hitting the women's division because they're the ones that come to
Oh
mind.
yeah,
But I mean, look at Tavion. I
Miles.
mean, Miles killed it Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking killed it. And he's never getting past the baby Randy things, especially with the pose.
Between the pose,
I
the
know he was
drop
just
kick,
stretching his
and
arms out, but I'm just like, yes, that drop kick is so Randy.
yep, and then he does the power slam too, which like anytime you do that, I think Randy or I think Dustin, because those are the only two that do it and do it well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yep. Yep. They
Well,
definitely
and
could have
Kyrie hasn't
worked
been
that
in the
into the.
ring for how long? I
Yeah.
know she's been working out, but like we've talked about, when you change your physical structure, when you've put on more muscle and less fat, and you're not doing those movements all the time while you're doing it, and I'm not just talking in a practice ring because it's not the same thing.
Well, and I'm just a layman watching wrestling, but I've been watching it since I can remember. And the only thing I can say is it does look like she was blown up. And between not being in the ring for as long as she has, putting on the muscle and gaining more mass, it's going to be harder for her to work around that ring. And so I think when she got to the end, she was trying to do that Alabama slam. She was gassed.
Yeah.
Like she tried to do it once, and they just kind of fell over into a very awkward looking pin. And then she tried to do it again, and she barely got her over. And even the commentary picked up on it and said, like she only got part of that famous line that they like to say, because there was no impact to it. It was just like she just rolled her over, and then she just
Well,
landed.
it's like Zelina trying to hit that 619 on Saturday.
Yeah,
It wasn't pretty.
yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it was. It
And then
wasn't pretty.
and then broke her nose because she just kicked her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Um,
These are not things you should be seeing on the main roster.
yeah, they need to take some time and do some actual practice reps. But like with the Kyrie situation, why didn't we do a tag? Because you had the two girls back there. Like, why didn't we ease it in that way and say, okay, why didn't we do Io and Kyrie, since she was talking about the damage control reunion and all that stuff? She's talking about winning the Money in the Bank and going for her title. It's a perfect setup to have a tag team. And then you ease her into the ring and you ease her into a program with Liv and Raquel, and like it protects her a little bit. But
Well, in the triple threat she was in last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it wasn't pretty either.
I do agree,
To be
Stampede.
clear, I cannot do what they do. I am critiquing this from completely the outside and just what I see.
Mm-hmm. My fat ass is sitting in a chair, so I'm not in there doing that stuff. So, absolutely. All right, we're going to go into my last three count here, and that's the fact that I'm so excited that Bodies at the Floor, AEW's Anarchy in the Arena, was beautiful. It is every year. It's one of the things I grasp on. I've been into Twitter beef all day today because someone was running their mouth about WWE again. But then halfway through the beef, I am reverting to the other side of going, hold on, AEW's not that bad either. Stop it. Because they're talking about, there's no stories. And I'm like, look at that. That right there had all sorts of story in it. Hey, Paul, welcome in. So the baby faces triumph. Swerve, Kenny Omega, Willow, Samoa Joe, Hobbs, Shibata, all defeat the Death Riders and the Young Bucks in a symphony of violence. So many things happened between Willow got padlocked to a chain through her gauge, which made me cringe. You had Swerve jumping off of a forklift. I'm pretty sure Judy Bagwell was still up there. Um, you had tacks. You had super kicks. You had staple guns. The staple gun fight was my favorite thing because it was just like it was this one, then that one, then this one, then that one, then ended with Swerve getting hit on the tongue, which
Which he showed off at the end of the match. He
right.
went
It was one of
and
those
had
things
that
like
staple on his tongue, and I'm like, oh my God.
I enjoy watching wrestling, and there are some moments though where I look at it and go, I've been watching so long, the magic is gone because I know how you did that. And so my first thought was, there's no staples in the staple gun. There can't be. Where they were hitting people, there's no way. And sure enough, no, he ends the night and he sticks out his tongue, and you see it right there in the middle of the tongue where he got hit. Oh my God, that was hurtful. And yeah, Shafir taking a Snapdragon. You had everybody on the other side taking spears from Willow, which is great to see the men and the women get into it. And
Okay.
hopefully that eases that a little bit.
Just in case somebody decides to clip this, we are not advocating violence against women. This is a wrestling match. We understand how this works.
Mm-hmm.
I have no issue with the women getting in there and mixing it up with the men in a wrestling match or wrestling setting.
Mm-hmm.
We are not advocating violence against women.
Absolutely. But we started the night with one song. I don't even know what the first song was. But then, Kenny says, "No, let's end that one."
The first song was like the Pointer Sisters, so excited or something stupid.
I thought they had one before that because I thought Kenny was telling them like, "Let's cut that one and do something else." And then I'm so excited popped on, and
I
then
don't think so.
bodies.
I may have missed it.
Okay. Um, well, there you go, Stampede. If you're in there, and you know that one, go ahead and give us that one, please. But yeah, so Omega talking to the crowd, telling them, "All right, let's wrap up this song. Let's do the next one." Then we get so excited, which Kenny seems fine with. Swerve seems a little trepidatious about it, but then he gets into it too and says, "Let's do it." Um, Absolutely, they can. There are tons of promotions that show that women can go as hard as the men do if they just give them the chance to. Um, we should have got that Rhea Dom match at some point, just to kind of throw that. Like that should have happened at some point. But um, the Claudio swinging Swerve into the speaker, which then stopped the music. That was a nice touch. We had a couple of returns pop in. We had Hook return. We had Gabe Kig come in and threw people around. We had Briscoe, who just went through a war, drenched in blood, come out and try to help out. All of them getting together to have what I believe was the perfect way to end this, which is all the Death Riders stuck in an ambulance while the two people that have been having trouble with the Founding Fathers, which by the way, that gimmick was amazing.
That shit was great.
The whole
Okay,
thing was great.
here's the problem with the Death Riders in the ambulance. There's 3 doors.
Wrestling logic, ma'am. Wrestling logic.
I'm just saying there's 3 doors. If you were going to do this, I would have put them in the back and literally wrapped a chain around the ambulance and padlocked it. It would not have taken long with those 6 people doing it,
Yeah.
and the crowd would have gone crazy for it.
Or just have Joe on one door, Hobbs on one door, and then the others holding the back door.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. However, it's wrestling logic. It's the same reason
I
why
know.
now we have problem in the Judgment Day, and they're not going to talk about it until next week when the camera's on them. We're not going to talk about any of that till the first time they see each other on Raw the next week. But this is one of those situations, like we always kind of critique AEW for the storytelling. This is where storytelling was great. Like the way they did this, the way it worked out was all perfect. It was unhinged, it was unsanitized, it was unpredictable. We got to see, which by the way, just kind of shout out because us two and Big Mike talked about this, of them doing like the red zone screen so we could see everything going on.
I was so excited when I saw that. I got so
Yeah. Okay.
well played. Very well
No,
played.
that's a good point though. Like even if they would have just opened the door and just like pretend like they were flicking the thing and then shut the door. And then
I
someone
got
mentioned they hit the
so
child locks.
excited when they busted out the 4 different screens.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yes, this is how we should be doing this.
There should have been a fifth one in the middle because halfway through that though, I was like, "Where's Mox? I don't see Mox in any of these screens." Yeah, it was definitely one of the best that I can remember. Between that match, the matches that happened before, but then like, and we'll talk about it in yours, but then the main event. Such a great pay-per-view that happened.
I agree.
Yeah.
I will say, I do think there was too many matches.
I
There
can
were
see that.
several matches. There were several matches that could have been done either on the pre-show or on the Dynamite Collision lead up or after to blow those off.
Yeah.
Um, the ambulance match had to be there. Yeah, amazing show start to finish. That shit was so good. What's your number one? I'm curious. Welcome, Paul. Thanks for showing up. We didn't say anything to him. We said something to everybody else. I figured we needed to
I
acknowledge
said
that he
hi
was
to
here.
Paul.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Okay.
That's okay. You don't
I
pay
was
attention
being
to me anyway.
I was being a fat kid eating chips, whatever. Um, there were several matches. Let me pull it up because I was thinking about this morning or today while I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was watching it while I was working, so I was catching what I could. But
Well, it's one of those things where I think each one of the companies have gone a little bit too far one way or the other. Paul tries to do a tight like 4 or 5 matches, and AEW tries to put all the talent on the card.
yeah,
So I think
okay.
I think there's somewhere in between that's kind of the perfect spot to me. I think 5 is too little. I think what AEW does most of the time is too much. I think we go somewhere in the
So,
middle, like a good 7 or 8 maybe.
and I know we're going to talk about it later, but I'm just going to say it now. Hangman Ospreay may be the best match in the last 15 years.
I could see that.
Start to finish, that match was fucking incredible. The Don Callis family against Paragon could have been on the pre-show, could have been on Dynamite or Collision. I know we set it up on Collision, but it still could have been on one of those shows.
Mm-hmm.
Anarchy, obviously. Tony and Mina had to be on the show. Okada Speedball could have been on one of the other shows. So there's 3 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm good with putting the tag titles on the show. It was the first match they'd had with Max out there, so I'm good with it.
Yeah.
The stretcher match obviously needed to be on the show because of what it was. FTR against Nigel and Daniel did not.
See, I'll disagree with you on that. I would swap the statement for those 2 tag matches. To me, the tag title match, we had like a week of buildup of that. They came out and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna challenge you for it." Okay, then we extend that MJF story to the
Fair.
next collision of the next Dynamite, where the Nigel thing, we've been beefing that up for a few weeks now, of
Right.
that being a thing. So let's put more effort into that and put the tag title match on another show.
And that's fair. And let's see, what was else? Obviously, Hater Mercedes, which was an amazing match as well. That was like if I couldn't decide on a third, that was going to be my third
Mm-hmm. It was
because that match was so good.
a great match. I don't like the finish, but that's just me.
I'm kind of okay with the finish though. I'm surprised by who won, but I'm okay with how it ended because it wasn't your typical finisher end it.
Yeah.
It was an out of nowhere. It was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And apparently Bandito, AR Fox, and some other people wrestled RPG Vice and Crew. I'm guessing on the pre-show.
Probably. That was probably on the buy-in.
Yeah, I agree, Paul. I definitely think there are some that could have been cut out
Yep.
that would not have hurt the overall quality of the show.
Well, and it gives some more time to some of those matches, or it gives some time for some storytelling. Like, cause that's the thing, is that you could do some backstage things to prepare people for the next show, where you have the tag match or where you have the match with Speedball. You have those building up to it, or building up to what we're doing next. Like, having Tony and Mercedes have a moment backstage now that she won. Have something to kind of build that up a bit. Yeah, it was a good match.
And the sad part is, at number 5, it was still a great match.
Yeah.
There was just such good matches.
Yeah. Well, and we've said it so many times in the past of like, if you don't like AEW week to week, that's understandable because it doesn't do much storytelling. They do all of their storytelling on the pay-per-view. Like, it is just massive overload between the in-ring action that they do, the commentary working their ass off, like all those things. I want to get into your 3 count. And part of that's going to be talking a little bit about AEW. But before we do, just because I mentioned commentary and it popped in my head, it was posted today. JR did go in today for treatment, so Godspeed, sir.
He had surgery, and last update I saw was they think they got everything.
So that's wonderful. It's the one and only time I will say Boomer Sooner is in reference to that man. So Boomer Sooner, get well soon.
It's one of the few times I'll clap along with that dumbass song too.
There you go. All right, so for Tori's 3 count, we're actually going to start with a different one. So we're going to get to AEW for a second. The rise of the Rollins Revolutionary faction. You wanted to talk in general about what happened to them on Monday. So they started the night with an interview. I will say one thing about the thing that I didn't like, and I can't believe I'm going to agree with Dave LaGreca of all people. The fact that we're walking out to Rollins music and didn't like debut a name for this faction, a new music for this faction, something. Because the fans are still singing the song. If you're trying to make this guy a heel now, and he's going to be the heel that destroys everything, you need to get rid of that quickly. But I'm going to let you take it away, So
I understand that they explained it last night. I don't agree with Stampede on 3. I did not think it was Okada Speedball wasn't a bad match, but I did enjoy it. I understand how Heyman explained that Rollins understands that what Bronson did to him was to make a statement, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely not. This is the dumbest shit ever. You're going to have him take the absolute beat down that he took and just be like, but I understand he was just trying to make a statement and it's fine. No, it's fucking not. No, it's fucking not. You at no point are going to do that to me, and I'm just going to be a punk about it and act like everything's fucking fine.
Yeah. It's the thing of like, if Seth would have said it and turned to Bronson and just got a little nod from him or something, then okay. But you got the explanation from Paul, who was saying he was taking care of Seth because Seth was the biggest, the biggest threat to him on the roster, da-da-da-da-da. And then he just hands the mic over to Seth after acknowledging him, which that's a whole other thing. But there was no interaction between him and Bronson for that. If even it was just a little like, and he was taking Seth out because he was the biggest threat on the roster, and Seth just turns to him and Bronson just nods, and they have that little moment of nodding together, then at least that would have told me something. I like it. Cobblepot Fusion Collective. I like it.
I was not ready for that. That's fantastic. I
do agree, Stampede. At least they addressed it. At least we didn't just go past the fact that,
right.
Bronson eliminated this man.
I'm glad they addressed it. I'm sorry. Seth looks like a punk. I love Seth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Seth Rollins fan. You look like a punk.
Yeah.
You got beat down by this dude, took like 27 tsunamis and 46 tidal waves or whatever the fuck we're calling them, and you just act like it's fine?
Yeah.
How is this okay? No, If you do not turn on this man the first chance you get, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't like this group at all. I'm not a big fan of Braun Breaker being there and how he looked Saturday when he realized Bronson Reed's now on the team.
Yeah, because he looked very confused. Well, it's the rehashing of the same thing, because the look on Bronson's face.
So I don't like this group. I hope Rollins does not win Money in the Bank, because what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a bit crazy. The main thing that I want to make sure that gets put out here, though, is that it is a good team. People are going to start coming back in. Apparently, we dropped signal for a second,
Yeah.
but we're back now. So, just Rollins is a great heel. Paul being there. Have a good night, lady. Thank you for being here. And this whole thing going on with them and Punk and that whole thing, like it's going to be a good story. I agree with you. We needed some more information as far as what was going on there. So
exactly. I want to hear it from Bronson.
Yeah. But right now those two are just the silent muscle men in the back, so we don't really hear anything from them. This all leads up to the main event, which is a triple threat match with Zayn, Balor, and Seth himself for a Money in the Bank spot. Seth walks away with that. Punk comes out and punks him out, quite literally. Everybody thinks he's going to come from the entranceway. He comes up behind him, GTS, and then he dips. Go ahead.
How many times are we going to do this? Here's the thing. Those two had started down the aisleway. I don't need him coming in from behind. I need him coming in from the side, behind them, quick hit and run before they get more than about 10 feet from the ring. Pick him up, hit the GTS, bounce. Like, come in one corner, go out the other corner where Jay comes in. Like, I just don't understand it. It's one of those, we've done this 9,000 times.
Yeah.
And it's not interesting to me anymore. Oh, who didn't see that coming when they both marched off down the aisle? I feel like Kevin Owens over here. That's what I feel like right now. Your music didn't play. Nobody called your name. You don't get to just come out here. That's what I feel like this is. That's where I'm at with this.
Yeah, I can see it.
The second they both walked off, we all knew what was happening.
Yeah.
That's my problem. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. I will also say, just, it has nothing to do with Seth in general. It has nothing to do with Punk in general. This is my thing. Them winning Money in the Bank, to me, goes against what Money in the Bank is for. Money in the Bank, to me, is for new up-and-comers that you would not expect to be in that title run. The fact that Seth's in it, and because of his thing with Punk, Punk's probably going to find himself in a qualifier and be in it. Now it makes me...
Or Punk's going to insert himself in that match, and I'm fine with that too.
But even then, I don't like the fact of him and Seth being in the match at all.
I agree.
Because them being in the match and having someone like an LA Knight or someone like a Karrion Kross if he gets in, or Penta who just got in, to me that overshadows them going for this. So I'd rather have someone young, new, up and coming do these. To me, the Rumble is for those established talents, because you go through 30 people to win the match. Obviously, you need to be a big talent for that. Where this is, it's a quick win. It's It's a an opportunistic thing. It's where Edge became a big name. It's where Liv became a big name.
I'm trying to die.
Don't die. I've done these
Yeah,
shows by
compared to
myself.
work,
It's never good.
Nobody to give CPR. I'll be right back.
Okay. I listen to them in clips, Paul. I try my best not to sit and listen to a whole show just because it's a lot. I agree with a lot of what they do, but it's obvious that they're stylizing that show to make it seem like they all yell at each other all the time, and it's just too much for me. Agreed. Like the whole point of that stipulation of that match is for someone to be able to quickly move themselves to the top of the card. It's them cashing in rather than earning it. To me, Seth could walk up to the world champ right now and say, "I want a match," because he's Seth freaking Rollins. CM Punk should be able to walk up to Jay and say, "I want a shot at your belt. I'm CM Punk."
Right.
Where Karrion Kross, if he gets in, if he wins that briefcase, there's question there because he hasn't been winning a lot and he hasn't been on the main card and he hasn't been in the main event. So him getting there is him cashing in. But that's just me.
My thought is if Punk has the match, Seth will keep him from winning it. And then
dying.
At the very beginning of the Money in the Bank match, Punk will take Seth out of it.
Okay.
Which is how it should be, because Seth shouldn't be in this match.
Yeah. I don't disagree. For your second one, it was the Double or Nothing Paige versus Ospreay match for the Owen men's final.
God.
Which was a hell of a match.
This match, I'm going to go back and watch this match again.
Big Mike, welcome to the chat.
What? Why are we holy shitting? What?
I'm going to pretend like he's holy shitting us.
Because we're that good?
Because we're that good. Though it's
or are you talking about the Ospreay?
Probably the Ospreay
Hangman.
match.
I'm going to go back and watch this match again so I can actually focus on the whole match.
Yeah.
The storytelling, and I'm just kind of at a loss for words because I was so impressed with this match. Like, you could run this one back once or twice a year, and I'd be 1,000% fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
The storytelling alone was so good. Oh shit. Okay, so something happened on NXT. Cool. Have to catch that. Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch NXT. How about that?
Just the whole thing, the way that they were trying to win. This was absolutely one of those times that you put two faces in the ring. Everybody loved both sides. They didn't try to hurt each other, and the match was absolutely out of this world. Like, and apparently from everything I've read today, they didn't know until sometime early this weekend who was winning.
Yeah.
It was still up in the air, which it should be. They shouldn't know that ahead of time, especially for a match like this. We don't want that getting out.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed it was a foregone conclusion that Hangman was losing.
Yeah.
I think it was SRS reported it. They were advocating for each other to win. Like, Hangman was like, Ospreay should win this, and Ospreay was like, Hangman should win this. I love to hear that.
Yeah. The idea that, because I was the same way. Like, I thought Osprey had this in the bag. I thought this was going to be his crowning achievement to get him into that main card. Um, as much as I wanted Hangman to win, and actually I said that in a predictions conversation that I had, I think with Big Mike, was that I wanted Hangman to win, but I think it's Osprey. Like, Osprey made more sense. Um, so I was very happy to see that I was wrong. I was very happy to see that Hangman got it. Um, the tears in the press conference afterwards, you could see the real emotion of, he's like, I finally did it. Like, I finally got back to where I was.
Yes.
For sure.
Him coming back to the ring to shake hands with him, to me, was just the cherry on top of what was an unbelievable match. And I just saw what Big Mike was shitting about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pull up Twitter?
So I sent it to you.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So yeah, I saw it too. Um, yeah, that's gonna be huge, and for that alone,
No, that's not it.
was that not it?
No.
Oh shit.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, go for it.
JC Jane is the new NXT Women's Champion.
Oh shit.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, I'll be watching NXT
I am
first thing
so
when we get out of
excited
here.
about this.
That's cool.
That is so
That
well
is
deserved.
that's just a shock. Goodness.
She hit that rolling forearm, which is basically the same thing as uh, what Anthony Bowens is using now.
Mm.
But holy shit.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, amazing match. Page versus Moxley at All in Texas on the 12th is now official. So it's gonna be high stakes. It's gonna be high violence, obviously, because those two can really go at it. Do you think he gets it, or are we still waiting on Sting 2.0?
We have both been of the opinion that once Darby came down from the mountain, once he did his kickflip down from the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
that Darby was winning this. I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah,
You put that title on Hangman in Texas,
yeah.
that place is going to erupt.
So the story itself, to me, like, if it was Osprey, I felt Osprey was going to lose, but it was going to be his chance to be in the main card for the title. It's going to be that extra bump up of, like, he's going to be there at some point. With Hangman, for the fact that the Elite are sided with the Death Riders, Hangman was the first AEW guy that we always got behind.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Do I think that taking the title off of oh wait, did Ariana Grace injure Tessa Blanchard? Was it Ariana Grace?
Yes.
Because if it is, we need to put a title on her right now. Sorry. I just saw the slap thing.
The thoughts and motions of anyway, yeah. The story there, like, obviously Darby is going to come back to a different fanfare if Hangman ends up winning that title. What I think could happen, though, is if we put a mid-card title somewhere in the Death Riders, and the Death Riders are still a thing when he gets back, then he helps kill the Death Riders. And that's what he's coming back for, is to rally the troops, because we still don't have, like, an AEW rally. And so if he comes back and he, like, rallies all the troops, like, all right, we need to get this cancer out of here. And so he's just the lead of that. That could still be the end of that story.
No, it hasn't. I agree. Do I think we take the title off Moxley and possibly put it back on him before Darby comes back? Because I'm sure Darby's going to need some downtime. I'm okay with that. The title's irrelevant at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So either get it off of Moxley or do something with it. The title has become an afterthought, and this is your world title. I don't disagree, but when's he going to be back? Are we going to do a thing where Hangman gets hurt and Darby takes his place? Because to me, that's horrible to do to him after everything they've done with him to get to this point.
That is
I
horrible, but
agree.
that is a way to go. Another way you could pull it is you do it based on wording. Have Moxley say, "Okay, you get a shot at what's in here." Never say the title. Just always reference like what's in the case. And so then he wins, and then what's in the case isn't the title. Then by a technicality, Mox is still the champ. There's ways you can get around it with him still winning. If you have him lose, because that's the thing, is that if we pivoted, I think we pivoted stories based on the fact that the Elite are now with the Death Riders. And so we can now make Hangman part of that story because of the Elite turning their back on him. We bring that kind of back full circle of he's doing this because they lost the vision. You lost what we started this for. You know, and we start learning more of maybe they hired the Death Riders to come in and kill AEW and all that. Try to swoop it into that way.
The only thing that makes sense to me, if we're not making it about the title and we're just making it about the Death Riders, then Darby coming in and costing Moxley the title to Hangman. You're not wrong.
Yep.
Somebody costing him making him lose the title to Hangman still makes the Death Riders relevant, keeps doing their thing, puts the title over here where people can actually fight for it, and we can still try and end this Death Rider thing. The title needs to be taken out of this picture.
Yeah. But we'll see where that goes. I mean, this is one of those stories of like it started as a decent story, then it became a what the hell are we doing story, and then adding the Elite into it. Now we've kind of started steering it back. So we'll see what goes on with that. I mean, looking ahead to it, he may win, he may not. We'll just have to see where it goes from there. Your third count is the one I think is going to be more of a conversation for us, because this is WWE has announced that they're going to have a third show on the same weekend as AEW is all in Texas. They've announced NXT's Great American Bash to be directly against All In. Kind of a throwback to the Monday Night Wars, only this time it's a Saturday afternoon shootout, apparently. So you say your piece, and then we'll talk about it.
NXT, or not NXT, sorry, AEW literally moved their pay-per-view to 3 p.m. because they're like, we don't want to compete.
Mm-hmm.
This is our big show. If AEW was trying to counter program, they would never have moved the time of this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There's not a fucking chance. You move the pay-per-view to 3 p.m. First of all, I'm a big fan of this because I can drive my ass home after the show. I'm good with this. Assuming I'm not just gassed out from the show.
Right.
But you're not acting like number 1 doing this. You're acting like number 17, trying to get, you're acting like a pick-me girl. That's what you're fucking doing. You're acting like a pick-me girl. Like, notice me and notice that I'm important because I booked a show at the same time that number 1 has something going on. I'm not saying AEW is number 1. I'm saying that's the behavior. Do I think, here's the problem. If I'm not at the show if I don't go, am I paying the $50 to watch? No, I don't either. 100% Stampede. If I'm at home, am I paying the $50 to watch All Out or All In, or am I watching the Great American Bash? I hate to say it, I'm watching the Great American Bash because it's fucking free.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pay for both of these, I couldn't give a fuck about NXT. And I love NXT.
Yeah.
But if I'm paying for both of these, this isn't a question. I'm sorry, you could run a WWE pay-per-view the same night as an AEW pay-per-view, and I'm buying the AEW one. Because those pay-per-views do not disappoint.
Absolutely.
I don't know that in the 6 years they've been a company, there has been a single whole pay-per-view start to finish that we went, that show was ass.
Yeah.
Saturday night's main event had more fucking commercials than it had wrestling. You gonna do that again? No, this is the dumbest shit ever. Like, this is a Kali type thing. Like, this is so dumb.
Oh, hold on. Break for clarity. Kali is where this whole thing started. So, me and Tori,
of kicking at it too.
Me and Tori, sitting in watching Kali versus Undertaker and seeing Kali chop Taker and beat him.
He beat him clean on his first match.
And Tori went off on like a 30-minute rant. And all we said was, we should have recorded this shit. So anyway, I digress.
He beat him clean on his first goddamn match.
With a chop.
I just can't. I can't. This is literally the same thing to me. You are literally trying to act like you're not number one by doing this. Yeah. I'm sorry, if people are buying an AEW pay-per-view, they're not skipping that because suddenly NXT has a Great American Bash. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, it's...
This is small dick behavior.
This is one of those where it's like, I find it hard to defend this just for the simple fact that you did just kind of say this out of nowhere of, we've got this pay-per-view, we're going to put it on this day, and it happens to be at the exact same day, the exact same time. There's not much you can say to say, no, we weren't trying to counter program. No, you totally were. You tried to take it a whole weekend away from these people on the biggest show, one of the biggest shows that they have.
This is literally like planning a collision the same night as WrestleMania. That's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part is, like CMP just said, if you're comparing match by match, WWE loses every time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who the matches are. It doesn't matter what show it is. You could put WrestleMania head-to-head with All In. WWE is going to lose that match by match every time.
Yeah. I mean, I think they would win on other metrics, but yeah, if you're just talking about the quality of matches, yeah, you're going to lose that each time. It's
This is absolutely little dick behavior. That's what it is.
It's petty. It's what
little
it
dick
is.
behavior.
And not only that, but honestly, like, I love wrestling. I do. I will watch it all day long. I will watch all the wrestling. I've got like 2 pay-per-views I got lined up on Triller that I'm gonna end up watching tomorrow because I found them when I was looking for the Kid Bandit stuff. And this is a lot. There's gonna be 4 shows that weekend. And they're all decent sized shows. That's fatigue. That's too much stuff in 48 hours.
Here's the other side of that.
Yep.
Look.
Throw all the stuff at them, and that way there's no tempting for them to go.
There is no chance that if a WWE fan spent the $50 to watch All In, that they're not going to watch that to watch NXT when they can watch NXT a couple of hours later.
Yeah.
Same thing with Saturday night's main event. I couldn't give a fuck about those Saturday night's main event show. I watched it because it was on. There is nothing you're going to put on this show that makes me care enough to not make AEW a priority.
Yeah. Well, and so to touch on that point though, and we have friends of the show and shows that we have been on where they have a difference of opinion of the whole idea of counter programming. But AEW made a strategic move because of WWE Saturday Night Main Event that day. And they decided we're going to move our program to 3. And you can believe it or not, it's another one of those things like it's hard to determine that they didn't make the change when the change was made after the announcement.
Right.
It's hard to say that. But if they made that strategic decision to move, is because they looked at it and went, that's a WWE flagship program. We don't want to be against that. Makes perfect sense.
It's a show that's been around for like 30 years. No.
Yeah.
You
We don't want to
go
take that
head to head
chance.
with it. In name recognition only, no.
Right.
But if you match that head to head matches, no.
Again.
WWE loses every time.
Yeah, no. Again.
Every time.
Yeah. And again,
that's the difference.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not watching a WWE match and going, I need the entire matchography of Trick Williams. And I don't say that as a knock to Trick.
Right. It's a difference, right? It's a difference of style. It's a different type of program. I as a counterpoint, Stampede, I would say, did you show him a random collision first? Just like, because that's, to me, that's the difference. Week to week programming.
Let me take you back to our basics. This is AEW Dark.
Yeah. Week to week basis, I think WWE has a better program.
Yes.
Pay-per-views, 100%. AEW kills it every time. And so I do think that.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I do think that them making that decision to move was a smart one, because you don't want to go against the flagship, because the flagship, like you said, it's the recognizable name. It's the thing everybody knows. If you ask a layman on the street, do you know about professional wrestling? They're going to say that WWE or that WWF stuff, because that's the name. That's the name that's in everybody's heads. It's the same thing with, like, do you know a wrestler? Hulk Hogan. Because that's the name. That's the name everybody knows.
100%.
So I think it's smart for WWE to turn around then and go, you know what, though? We're going to have an NXT pay-per-view at the same time on the same day as that. Oh, that's petty. That's petty.
Tatum Paxley came out carrying Shotzi and Gigi dolls.
Oh. That poor girl just wants a friend.
Right. Here's the thing. Like you said, if you asked me, if I said name a wrestler, The Rock, Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that most people are going to name. Maybe Roman Reigns at this point.
John Cena.
Maybe. If you're asking me for the best matches, I'm not including any one of those 4.
That's valid.
It's not a knock on them.
Well, but hold on. Then again, it's still the thing, and like this is where we'll kind of tip off a little bit to like all the conversations I've been having on Twitter all day. It depends on what you want, though. Because if you ask me what are one of the best matches in the world, one of the best matches in the world is Hogan versus Rock, and that's because of the story that was being told. The match was shit, but the story made it what it was. And so it's one of those things of like, what are people going to enjoy more? WWE, I agree with Stampede. They're flooding the market that weekend to try to get all those casuals to go, no, don't go look at that. No, I know there's wrestling this weekend. Don't go look at that though. Come stay here. Come hang with us and watch all this stuff. We're gonna put on more stuff for you. Hey,
that's what I'm saying. I just this is not the flex you all think this is.
Yeah. The sad thing is it's became a turf war, and they're punching down. And I love AEW. I want to make that clear. We have polished a lot of AEW talent and a lot of AEW matches just in this show alone. but WWE is punching down at this point. If they're counter programming an NXT pay-per-view against All In, they're punching down.
Yeah.
Because it's going to hurt them, and it's sad. Why are you trying to hurt this other company? Like,
it's sad because, like I said, to me, this is the bully on the football team pushing around the kid in the math class, in the math club. That's what this is.
Well, and
that's why I said it's a little dick behavior.
The point of the fatigue, also, Sunday is your Evolution pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You're going to fatigue them before that one. Yeah. Let's focus on that and push people to that. Instead, you're putting 2 programs on Saturday and then leaving your Sunday program to be the last thing for the weekend. Kind of sucks.
I'm so excited for Evolution. So excited for this. It does not dim how excited I am for All In. And if you put them against each other, again, if I'm paying for both, I'm going to pay for All In.
Yeah.
And I don't say that as a knock on the women's division in the WWE at all.
No. It's a nostalgia. It's a spectacle. It's not a wrestling event.
100%.
But anyway, so I mean, it's just at this point, July 12th isn't just a date; it's a declaration. We got these 2 top wrestling companies that are picking sides, trying to get our fans to pick sides, and unfortunately, we're getting caught in the crossfire. So it sucks, but it's where we are. And with that, we're going to go to the Twitter topic. The Twitter topic, actually, I'm going to go a little bit off a script because it's not a Twitter topic. It's a TikTok topic, but that's harder to say. At Apron Bump on TikTok. If you don't follow this guy, he's a fun follow. He does a lot of like historical matchup stuff of like, this is what would have happened if we could have done this back in the day. And one of the favorite ones I've seen so far was, what would the WrestleMania main event be if the WCW World Champion faced the WWF World Champion? And so he started it back in 1988 and listed it down of who was the WCW champ at the time and who was the WWF champ at the time. So I'm just gonna run through these and you tell me what you think. Okay? Or no, sorry, this was WCW champ and Royal Rumble winner. My apologies. So the Royal Rumble winner gets to face the WCW champ. Ric Flair versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan in 1988.
Are you wanting me to tell you who wins that?
Just tell me what you think of the match. If you want to tell me who wins, that's a bonus too.
I couldn't give a shit about the match. Ric Flair wins. I love Hacksaw. I've met the man. He's super sweet. I don't care.
Okay. 1989, Ric Flair versus Big John Studd.
Big John Studd. I think that actually would have been a surprisingly good match because Flair's working from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know he's a bottom, but...
no, the only bottom about him is the bottom of the bottle. 1990, Sting versus Hulk Hogan.
Now, this would have been Sting's absolute heyday.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, Hogan's too. Like,
yeah,
this is young Hogan, young Sting.
The Sting Hogan match that we should have gotten. I still think Sting wins, but
and kind of to mirror that, in 91, Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan. Because he was back to back.
Same thing.
Yeah. We would have gotten the Hulk Flair match that we should have gotten. 92, Ron Simmons versus Ric Flair. Because this is when he went over and won the Royal Rumble.
Okay. That match would have been banger. Mm-hmm. Ron Simmons winning the world title put him on the map to begin with. Beating Ric Flair would have done it even more. And you could not have put that title on him and then turned around and had him job to Ric Flair. They probably would have, but you shouldn't have.
Yeah. For 93, it's another match that I wish we could have gotten with both of them in their heyday like this. And I got to give a little shout out to Mike on this one. Because it's big, meaty men slapping meat. 93 was Vader versus Yokozuna.
Yo!
Right?
That
Imagine
would have
that.
been so good.
Yeah, because this was Vader when he still, like, he cared. Because in WCW, he was the man. Those two going at it would have been insane in '93. 94 kind of caveat, I guess, because it would have been Hogan versus Lex versus Brett. Because it
Because of
was, yeah, because of the dual win at that point. Right.
the Big Mike special.
That's right. Well, there we go. We change it. Coin it to be our own. Um, so again, like Hogan still, like, it's in his caring days. It's when, like, he still tried.
I think Hogan would have lost that though because Luger's run at the time was crazy.
Yeah. Well, Luger was Hogan. Like, that's what they were putting him as. So, 95 would have been a match that we never got that would have been absolutely awesome. Randy Savage versus Shawn Michaels.
Oh my God.
The
When you think about those matches that we never got that we wish we had,
That's
I
one of
don't
those.
ever hear this one, and it should be on the list.
Yeah. Well, because if you remember right, when Randy left because he was being told he was not going to be in the ring anymore. He was just going to be a commentator, and he's like, "I've still got room. I've still got time." And so he was pitching him against Michaels for that next WrestleMania. That would have been an insane match.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about the buffet of wrestling, that would have been a gourmet meal of fantasy matchups.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, Randy was meticulous. He would write down every step in a match and make sure everything was perfect. And then you got someone that can just go on the fly like Michaels. That would have been such an amazing match.
Sean would have matched him move for move. Because, and again, I am a dyed in the wool Sean fan for life.
Mm-hmm.
Do I agree with everything the man has done over the years? No. But
Stampede, we're hoping in our world that that's not the point. That's not
right,
what happened.
that match would have been probably the greatest match of all time.
That would have rivaled Ricky Steamboat, I think, because Sean, if you talk like year after year, like, Sean was the modern Ricky Steamboat. He's the guy that could go in there with anybody and do anything. So absolutely would have been a great match. 96 would have been Hogan versus Shawn. Still a little bit better Hogan.
As long as Sean sells like he did, I'm fine with it.
The same Shawn sell. That he didn't oversell, according to him, in every other interview he does. 97, I think this one I actually would have liked, Hogan versus Stone Cold, because that's the match we never got that I think would have been good. 98 was the match that would have made any wrestling fan just absolutely lose it, and that was Goldberg versus Stone Cold at the time.
I don't want that. I never wanted that match.
Really?
I didn't like. Goldberg was a flash in the pan, 3-move, nothing special. Austin could literally go with anyone on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of 40 people off the top of my head that I would rather see Stone Cold wrestle.
I think that's kind of why I would have liked it, though. Because Stone Cold at that time could go with anybody. And so him in there working Goldberg and making it so he can't do just his 3 moves and he's done, I think that would have been a decent match. 99, oddly enough, would have been Bret Hart versus Vincent McMahon. And this would have been shortly after.
A screw job?
So that would have been fun, just for the story alone. And then the final one, because the final WCW champ, while there was a WrestleMania going on, was Scott Steiner. It would have been Scott Steiner versus The Rock. Or if we went with the actual winner, it'd be Steiner versus Big Show, but Big Show won, but he didn't win. But yeah.
Steiner Rock at the time would have been pretty solid because Scott was pretty big.
Yeah. I think he still had, at that point in 2000, I think he still had the club foot problem. but he was still kind of getting away with it. So, again, big shout out to at Apron Bump on TikTok for that one. Definitely go give him a follow. There's a lot more fun alternative things that are on there. They're just fun
Okay,
to watch.
I know we're wrapping up. Can we talk about Finn Balor's facial expressions in the clubhouse?
Sure, we can do an honorable
That
mention, I
shit
believe.
was so funny.
That whole thing was funny. Big Mike on the Chair Shots review show last night. Big Mike from the Run In Wrestling Pod. You see him right there in the chat. He's a good friend of the show. He said the thing that I think just echoed what I was thinking, which is the Judgment Day's back. Like, this is when it was fun, is when you had all this like weird entanglement and all that stuff going. So yeah, him in the back, grinning ear to ear. Carlito trying to tell Dom, dude, you need to stop trying to eat her nuggets. And just for my take,
You cannot tell me they're not turning on Liv and Dom.
yeah.
You can't tell me this.
But there was so many good things from that in itself. I do want to post out my Twitter post that I did about it though, because I stand behind this. People need to stop giving him dry ass chicken nugs
You're
from
not
the
wrong.
air fryer. The man loves chicken tenders.
Well done, Stampede. That's well done.
That is well done. This man loves chicken tendies. He loves ranch dressing.
Unlike Dom's chicken nuggets, that was well done.
That was well done.
He does get some booty ass chicken nuggets. Like, can't y'all get some dino nuggets or something?
Well, no, I'm telling you right now, I know those nuggets. I buy those nuggets. Those
They're
are
the
dry
generic
ass air fryer
swirl.
nuggets. I know what they are. Stop it. And give that man some ranch. He has said on numerous occasions ranch is his favorite thing to dip those things in. At least give him some ranch to choke those things down. But Carlito in the back telling him to stop trying to eat her nuggies. Roxy doing the massage gimmick, and then Liv coming in, Konnichiwa, bitches. Like, the whole thing was funny.
You cannot. And then, did you hear what Roxanne said when Raquel was like, "Who told you to come out here?"
Mm-mm.
She said, "You did."
Oh shit! I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Liv. There you go.
You're not wrong there, Big Mike.
For sure. And Liv being the smart heel. Because what do you expect to happen after that match? You expect her to bag on Roxanne, because Roxanne came out there and screwed up everything. No, she went to Raquel and was like, "No, you're the veteran. You should have known better out there," because she would have won that match if Raquel would have kept her like face down off the damn mat. But whatever. So nice little setup there. But yeah, it was Finn being the Cheshire Cat in the background was absolutely hilarious. There is no reason that man should be having as much fun as he's having.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just keep doing it.
Yeah.
The split off is going to be, I think we'll get it for SummerSlam. Or at least we'll at least get Dom and Finn for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Dom just screwed Finn out of Money in the Bank.
He didn't mean to, though. He slid him a chair. He was just trying to help him out. Anyway, before we get out of here, when a despondent Lassiter begins to doubt his own abilities, Sean decides to secretly help him solve a mysterious death of an astronomer in an effort to boost his confidence. Up next on Psych. Before we close out, anything else you want to talk about wrestling wise? It's been a long weekend.
There's been a lot going on this weekend. Next week I'm not here.
You're not here next week? Okay.
I'm in Kansas for a wedding.
Okay. Then I might need a co-host if anybody's willing to join. Hint, hint. On topic of wrestling coming up, though, you're still trying to do the all-in thing, right? So we're still trying to get King Out to it all in. This coming Monday is Monday Night Raw, and I had an opportunity land in my lap. So I'm going to be going to Monday Night Raw.
You are for sure going. I'm possibly going.
Yep. So we might have both of us there. I might bring if you end up there. I'm not sure what Mike was trying to say there.
I don't either.
There we go. Eyes. It took a second to pop up. What the hell was that? Yeah. So if we're both gonna be there, I might make sure I got my wireless mics charged up, and we might do a little live broadcasting from there just for some fun. Maybe talk to some fans. I am talking to a friend of ours. If you want to nudge, wink, wink her to see how quickly she could get a couple of shirts done.
Oh, that's why you needed to talk to her.
Because I'm like, if I get you a shirt like tomorrow, how quick can you get this done for me?
You can get them done pretty quick.
Because if we could get a couple of shirts for Monday, that would be awesome.
I'd wear it. And if our friend goes with me, she'd wear it too.
That's valid. Hell, I could probably get the person who's taking me to wear it too, just for fun.
Probably.
I don't know if I got that much money to make those shirts though, but we'll see. That's a lot of shirts now. I was just planning 2. But no, so we'll be definitely. I'll be there. Tori might be there too. I mean, that's valid.
Man is not wrong.
Yeah, no, Karrion Kross is still on the screen. We're still good. Nope, Rollins is still talking. Nope, Cody's still crying.
You didn't have to do the crybabies like that.
I'm just saying. I'm a Cody crybaby too. I'm good with it. I'm down with it. I do want to say just before we close out the stream here, I do apologize for our X audience, our Twitter audience. For some reason, when we dropped off there, X never reconnected. So we haven't been live on Twitter this entire time since that drop happened. So I apologize for that. But thank you for everybody joining us on YouTube and on Purple Keeping Entertainment and on Twitch. I appreciate you being here. But that's it for tonight, folks. Remember, wrestling today is like the biggest buffet you've ever seen. You don't have to love everything on the table, but let people enjoy what's on their plate. Load up on what hits for you. Catch us up on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Blue Sky, and sign up for our Kicking Out 2 Discord right above my bald head right there. Remember that bald is beautiful. Stop picking on Ricochet. Leave that man alone.
Big chance is bald, and I was excited about it. It was funny.
Join any of those, though, so you can drop your thoughts, share your faves, and keep the conversation going. In the meantime, and in between times, we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.